Brad Meltzer, welcome to the program.
I love hearing your voice.
You know what? You are one of my favorite guests. You're one of my favorite writers, one of my favorite people, and favorite historians. I mean, it doesn't get any better.
I pre-listen, right back to you. We've been together a long time, my friend, since I had hair.
I don't think you had that much hair then.
Well, it was at least one.
There was one.
Charlie Brown style.
Yes, there was one hair when we first met. So, Brad, I have to be honest with you. I'm reading about 600 books right now, and it helps for me to have them on audio tape. So I started early this morning on your book, and I'm not there, but I will read it, and I want to have you back when I finish the book. Because I know I'm going to find all kinds of things about history in here that is always something great. I want to start, however, with the beginning, and this isn't going to wreck anything. There's two things that I have to have you tell the story right away. First, the opening. Hang on, right before the opening, there is...
It's my favorite page one that we've ever had. The Escape Artist definitely has my favorite page one we've ever done.
So I don't know if you count this as page one, because I think I know what you're talking about, but this is my page one. I want to start here. In 1898, John Albert Wilkie, a friend of Harry Houdini, was put in charge of the United States Secret Service. Wilkie was a fan of Houdini and did his own tricks himself. It's the only time in history that a magician was in control of the Secret Service. Oh, my God. What a great opening. Tell me the true story of this first.
It's an incredible story. I couldn't shake it for the better part of years and years now, and I just figured, how is a magician in control of the Secret Service, and none of us know this from history? And I looked into it, and Harry Houdini had his own Secret Service. What they used to do is they used to go to town early, and I don't want to ruin the book because you'll see in The Escape Artist, it's fiction, it's a thriller, but I always build it around real facts. It's a modern-day thriller, but I saw this detail from history. And what he did was his private Secret Service would go to towns early. They would figure out what handcuffs the police wore and use so that Harry Houdini could pick them. They figured out what kind of locks were on the jail cells. That was how he did the magic trick. But what I traced it back to even more, Glenn, and you'll appreciate this part, is it's not the first time it happened that the government used a magician, because there was a man who worked for Abraham Lincoln who was also a magician. And he used to do rope tricks and escapes, and Abraham Lincoln, during the Civil War, thought he'd make a great spy. So he hired him in the Civil War. This man eventually grew up. I don't want to ruin his name because it'll ruin something in the book. But this man eventually grew up and became such good friends with Lincoln. He's one of the people who was at Lincoln's deathbed. And then eventually this man became friends with Harry Houdini. And this is all real. It's an unbelievable lost part of history that I found. And when I built The Escape Artist, I just thought this is what's going to be at the core of it. And the thing about Harry Houdini that I just adore is Harry Houdini was so obsessed with death that he used to give his Secret Service and his closest friends secret passwords that if they came back from the dead, it would be a code word only he would know and they would know. So he would know if it was really them during a seance, because he used to always try and disprove people who were doing seances. And the story, then the password that Harry Houdini gave to his mother was a single word, Glenn: forgive. And that was, I realized the entire lesson for me writing this book is that all of us in our lives, we have craters that we're in, whether it's addiction, whether it's abuse, whether it's just a loss of a loved one. We have moments where the only way we're going to ever get out and be escape artists ourselves, is if we forgive, and we have to start that forgiveness with ourselves. And I learned it from a guy named Harry Houdini.
So before I go on, Harry Houdini, is it true that he was a spy for the United States government, I think under Wilson?
Yeah, he was a spy. What he used to do is, it wasn't that he went in and, what he helped us with was actually smuggling. He was really good at that. He was good at hiding stuff. And then the other thing he was really good at is he used to go to the top foreign leaders' homes. He used to go to the equivalents of the White House in other countries. So he'd report back and say, here's what security's like, here's what happens when you walk in. And that's the great trick of Harry Houdini. He can go anywhere. He's the most famous man in the world.
Do you know if the story about him with the Tsar and Rasputin is true, where he made the...
I've heard that story. I don't know. You know what? It was one of the ones, I don't know if it's true. It's a good story. I remember hearing it. I don't know it as well. But, what I realized when I was writing the book is that, when you think of the idea of a magician being in charge of the Secret Service, that was my jumping off point. And I just thought, how do I not use that today? And so, and one of the things we have to talk about is Dover Air Force Base, because that's just,
Right. So I want to get to, hang on just a second. Who's in control here? Why did I lose control of this show?
No, I just I want to make sure this is the thing that I know you're going to love that I can't do with anyone because no one has the appreciation you have for it.
So here is the opening line that I thought you might be referring to, because I think this is one of the best opening lines in the prologue. These were the last 32 seconds of her life.
No.
You've set up in just the prologue a scenario that I didn't have any idea was even real. So I started doing some homework, and I also read your Washington Post article. You have this character. She knows something. The plane is going down. She knows this is no accident, and she's trying to make sure that she survives to tell people this isn't an accident. She jumps out. I want you to talk about that, if that's even real. She jumps out of the plane, hoping that she's going to be able to survive as it's going down. Everything is on fire. And she writes a note, but she wants to make sure that if she dies, the medical examiner finds the note. Tell me how you came up with this.
Yeah, this is an incredible story, and built, again, it's all fiction. Nola is the character you're referring to, is my favorite character I think I've ever written. And it's because she comes from reality. First of all, yes, jumping out of the plane when you get to the top of the treetops, that was given to me by Air Force Rangers. And all the things you see, this is a book built with the help of the military. That's who gave me all this stuff. The military has been incredible, and one of the things that she does in that moment is she eats the sheet of paper. And when you know me, when I do a book, I always bring it to the experts. And I said to the medical examiners at Dover Air Force Base, and Dover is the place where we all know fallen soldiers go. I didn't know that Dover is also the place that gets the world's biggest cases. So the space shuttle goes down, 9/11 happens, those bodies also go to Dover. And any secret spy around the globe that we're not supposed to know what they're doing, when something happens to them, they go to Dover too. So Dover is a place that's built on secrets and mysteries. So, of course, I had to look into it. And I went there and I said...
Hang on just a second. But it is... Yep. Is it mainly the top-of-the-line forensic and mortuary, if you will?
That's exactly what's at Dover Air Force Base, is the Doverport Mortuary is the place that not only does the medical examining side, but also does the mortician side of laying our soldiers to rest. So they will, as an example, and they're so incredible there, they will spend 14 hours. If you get a normal funeral home and you get disfigured, they'll close your coffin, it's a closed casket, and they'll bury you. But at Dover, the families of our heroes, our fallen soldiers, they don't really believe it until they see their son or daughter. So they will spend, people there at Dover will spend 14 hours redoing and rebuilding the cheekbones of someone's cheek so they can see their child one last time. There's a true story. Is they once built someone's hand, rebuilt the whole hand because the mother specifically said, I want to hold my son's hand one last time. These are heroes.
Let me from the Washington Post, you wrote, when a soldier's body comes home, morticians can rebuild hands rather than giving them fake prostheses so that a mother can hold her son's hand one final time. They'll spend 14 straight hours wiring together a fallen soldier's shattered jaw, then smoothing it over with clay and makeup, just so his parents can have far more ease than they should have ever expected at their son's funeral. That's remarkable.
It is what inspired the escape artist. I've been to the White House. I've been to all the places. I've done all my thrillers set in real spots and shown the secret tunnels below the White House. But when I got to Dover, I was humbled. And I found out about it because I was on a USO tour. I was in the Middle East entertaining our troops. I do USO tours. I just did one recently for them last month, another one.
What do you do on the tour entertaining the troops?
They bring six. I know you're thinking I do like a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
I'm just thinking, you and something low cut and lacy is not necessarily what we should be sending.
What we need, right? Well, they send 6 thriller writers every year. Is what they do, because there are people who love, obviously,
sure.
The country singers that are out there, and God bless them all. They're wonderful. But there are people who are just readers, and they just want good thrillers, and that's what they read. They read our books. So I've been over there for, I love doing the events. It was there that I found out about Dover and really what they do beyond just taking care of the fallen soldiers, the whole, everything that you've just said. And I was humbled. I was like, I need to write about these people. I need heroes for my new book. The world is starving for heroes right now. We're all starving for heroes. And here's where I saw real heroes. This was the best of us working on our fallen soldiers, the true best and the best of us.
Okay, so hang on. So when we come back, I had to take a quick break. I want you to take us back into the airplane, and the hero that is jumping out of the plane and says, "I need in my autopsy, I need them to find what the truth is and what's just happened on this plane." We'll get to that because it's the way you found out. This is fascinating. Harlan Coben said, "Not since The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo have we seen a character like this." Holy cow, Brad. That's high praise.
Listen, I feel it's not fair to the girl with the dragon tattoo. I'll take that compliment any day.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
I'll take it any day.
So let's talk about this character. It starts off with her writing down stuff that she knows. She's like, this is not an accident, and they were going to deem it an accident. I know why this plane is going down. She takes out a piece of paper and she eats it as she jumps out of the plane. Tell the origin of this.
So, again, in a moment that truly blew my mind, when I'm researching a fictional thriller to hear this real-life story, and that is I went to the friends at Dover, people who've worked there in the past too, and said, if I wanted to hide a secret note on someone's body, could you do it? How would you do it? Because that's how the book opens. Chapter 1 is you see that Nola winds up being dead in a plane crash, and our hero is laying her to rest. He works at Dover and finds this hidden note inside her body. So I was like, can you actually do it? And they said to me, if you're on a plane and the plane is going down, you could eat the note and the liquids in your stomach would actually protect the paper. And they said it was the ultimate message in a bottle is how they described it. And I thought, oh, that's a really cool story. And they said, no, it's not a story. It happened. I said, what are you talking about? They said it happened on 9/11. And they told me this true story that on 9/11, when the Pentagon victims on Flight 77 came to Dover, that when they opened one of the bodies, there was a secret note inside one of the victims' stomachs. Now, the first question you got to ask, Glenn, you know what it is, right?
Yes. What did it say?
What did it say? That's all I could tell you where I was standing when he told it.
Bet.
I mean, it was unbelievable. I'll never forget that moment. And in that moment, of course, they wouldn't tell me. I respect the privacy of that. But I thought to myself, it must be someone in the military. Who else would have the wherewithal to, in the moment when a plane is going down and you're, trapped by terrorists, to actually leave a final note in, this ultimate message in a bottle? And then I realized that as I look at that note, I think that the person writing it was doing and searching for what we all search for every day, connection, right? That's all we need is we want to love and we want to be loved. And I can tell you, Glenn, that when my parents both died, the one moment of solace that I took in that true chaos was I got to say goodbye to them. My mom died of breast cancer, my dad of heart disease, and I knew that it was coming. So thank God I got to say goodbye to them. And that's why I take hope from that note, because what that person was doing when they wrote that note and what that note did was exactly what it was designed to do. It was proof that when we reach out in the universe, when we put out that message in a bottle, that we will be heard. And that inspires me.
And it was delivered to the person it was meant for, correct?
They would not say for sure, but I'll just say it to you. I got that feeling that that note made its home.
Okay, you said it to me and, just a few million people too. So I just want to remind you of that when you're sharing secrets with me. Back in a minute. Has any of your books been made into movies yet?
They bought the rights, but no, they haven't. They've written scripts. The best one was, Glenn, you'll appreciate this. Is one of the books was all about gambling on Congress that I did a number of years ago, and they hired this screenwriter who, was nominated for an Oscar, and they paid him obscene amounts of money. And then he called me up and he said, "So," and he was a British guy, and he said, "So you have a two-party system of government?" And I was like. And I was just like, it's
all
perfect.
Right. Good.
Thank you. It's
good.
Perfect.
And you're a writer, too. That's good.
Yeah, amazing.